welcome everybody. Our intention is to have time together for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how in depth we go on a few things. And I think we can begin.
Oh, I just really welcome this opportunity to work with you, Jennifer, and to welcome everybody that has joined us. And I assume it's from a desire to learn a little more about the subject, breathing and the 5 A's. Myself, I work at the Haven and have been a great beneficiary. It's been very beneficial to me, particular the idea of breathing as a way of accessing my inner self and as a way to connect with the world and with each other. So I'm very happy to be able to explore this toolkits with you and introduce this to everybody and maybe whet the appetite for Saturday, because we're going to play and have a good time and spend some time breathing together and explore more in depth. So yeah, that's all I want to say now.
Oh, that's great. Well, in case people are joining and they don't know, my name is Jennifer Hilton, and I have been probably going to the Haven for 18 years now. It almost shocks me when I say that. And I think when I first showed up 18 years ago, I didn't know a whole lot about anything that existed below my neck. So especially breathing was a big component of it. And that was through the Come Alive program, which is one of our foundational programs at the Haven. That was where I was first introduced to this concept of breathing. And I believe that I was able to feel more alive and know more of myself through learning about breath. So I certainly appreciate that. And Alfie, you've always been a mentor for me in terms of embodiment, which is one of our principles. So I'm really thrilled and excited to be doing this with you.
It's a never-ending fascination for me, because there's always so much more to learn and to discover. It's actually a practice. It's never a perfect. And it's an ongoing process to commit to the next breath over and over again. So consciously. So I want to just say something about Haven. You know, the Haven is located on Gabriel Island, which is in the territory of the Sunamo people, and we want to acknowledge that because we get to be citizens and live here in the place where people before us have lived for thousands of years. And Gabriel is a rich, very wonderful place of healing and playing and nourishment and all that. So I just want to say I'm deeply bow of acknowledgement to the Sunamo people whose citizens we are now. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, Alfie. And I certainly have that experience myself when I'm there on the property. There's just something very special about it. And I put together these images so that hopefully people who haven't been to the Haven can sort of see a little bit about how beautiful the land is and how well it's been preserved as well. So this is just some background, how long the Haven's been around too. I mean, 35 years, and basically we are in the transformational educational business, and that's certainly been my experience in arriving there and seeing my life change over the last 18 years. And so we invite you to explore if you haven't been to the Haven. And actually, let's check that out. Let's see how many people out there that have joined us have not been to the Haven yet. Just type that into your Q&A box right now. How many people have not been to the Haven? You can just let us know if anybody's out there that hasn't been, just so we have a little bit of read on that. And it looks like most people have. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So maybe some of you have even participated in the sunset ceremony that you see on the beautiful slide. That's one of my favorite moments in a day at the Haven, is to stand together and watch the sun go down.
Yes. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to be for sunset, no doubt about it. So the next slide is basically just got 3 words on it. And I mean, there's a lot more to say about our education and what we offer there, but all of you know that these are some of our core principles: self-responsibility, and that we believe everybody has an opportunity to be able to respond in their lives and take ownership for their lives. And that we live in a relational world. I mean, we're born into relationship, and we believe that that's how we learn about ourselves, is actually through relationship. And then the last one, of course, as I said earlier, the biggest one for me being embodied, which you can talk to.
Well, it's fascinating. I've been a body worker for 40 years. That's a long time, actually. And I never, ever fail to be in awe of the mystery of the body. What I know is that there's every bit as many signals coming from the body to the brain, and then vice versa. And, people ask, what does embodiment mean? And that's a whole wonderful exploration. And there's many, many skills that we employ at the Haven that would make us more conscious of the entire structure and fluid nature of the body. And one way to do that is to commit, like I say, to the next conscious breath. And might as well do that with me right now, just taking that next breath in and then let it go and exhale. And of course, movement is part of embodiment. So being stagnant or sitting or not breathing or restricting the movement will restrict the sensation that we can harvest in the body. And folks always say, well, what do you mean breathing? I'm breathing all the time. And of course we do. But the layers of breath is, one thing is your body wants to live. And so it breathes even when you're asleep or not paying attention or unconscious. And then there is this other gift of the choice. We believe in conscious choice, saying yes to the next breath. And you can even hold your breath if you want to. And we do. And we could choose to let it go again. Yeah. And in relationship with each other, we could often, like the story you told at the very beginning, to point out to each other, wow, your shoulders are way up here. What would happen if you would take the next breath and let it go, and what's going on? Right. So embodiment also, if we're really curious about our life, then breath is a good way into relationship. Yeah,
absolutely. And that just brings me to remembering, as all of what you said brought me back to the Come Alive, and this particular image and quote that I absolutely love, and was my experience coming to the Haven and taking the Come Alive program. And the breathing part of it is being a part that that was transformative for me. So I think embodiment, breath, all of that is just such a fundamental part of our aliveness and how we function in the world, and keep ourselves unstuck and keep the energy flowing. And that's what Come Alive did for me. It actually opened me up to whole parts of myself that I didn't know, and gave me more energy and access to my creativity, a whole bunch of different things. So forever grateful for Come Alive. So let's go into a little bit more about breath, because that's what the topic is going to be for Saturday on April 14th at the 750 Post downtown Vancouver. If you haven't registered yet and you want to attend, we will actually put some information, actually might be in there now already in the chat box. And there's links to register for the workshop. So you can go there and check it out. There's a couple of other links to some resources about breathing. So let's dig in a little bit to breathing.
So I just want to say something about the word respiration, which is kind of a clinical word, but the word spirit and respiring, perspiring, expiring, that all contain that beautiful word spirit. And I often think, wow, where's that come from? And then I think, okay, when I consciously am aware of this breath that's feeding my body, maybe I'll get inspired, filled with spirit. Maybe that means my senses are a little sharper and I notice more of everything. Looking around, taking a breath, and feeling that connection with everything. That's because we share breath with every critter on the planet, with trees, with people, with four-leggeds and the flying people, and so on. So that is a shared gift of life. Without it, we all know what would happen. 4 minutes later, boom, we're no longer. And so that I think of breath as a true gift that I can choose to accept more of by breathing deeper and exhale and actually letting go, and can think of my exhalation as a contribution to the common space. And so that's a little bit of a mystical way of looking at breath, but there's many old traditions, healing traditions that are thousands of years old that have as the basis the union between breath and matter. So that's one way I keep remembering that the importance of breath is that it is a gift. And I can accept it and also share it with others. Yeah.
And I think it's about being conscious of it and really noticing. I mean, because really it's what we have from the moment we are born until the last breath. So we're doing it all the time. And it's more just how can I be more conscious and access it more in order to access a lot more of who I am ongoing as well. So we're go ahead.
A regular breathing pattern helps us to have our body get used to a larger volume of oxygen. So we might actually notice sooner when we get tight. And maybe that would mean that in my past, I used to get regular headaches, but I would have to get really, really tight and not breathe for a long time. And then suddenly I'd have a shoulder pain or a headache. And I noticed that, oh my God, if I have a breathing practice, that I would notice it when my shoulder is up like this instead of like this. So I would notice sooner when I get tight. So that's the value of a good breathing practice, which we teach in our programs at the Haven. We invite people to breathe daily. And we're gonna do a few of those different practices that can serve to relax us or can serve to energize us.
Yeah, and I'm noticing a few more people joining in as we're going. So welcome anybody who's just come on. And we are talking about breathing. And I thought I'd just take the moment here, Alfie, to check in with people and see, whoever here is online, you have an opportunity to raise your hand. And so we're asking you if maybe you could do that. If you do use or have a breathing practice already, Is it something that you do? Okay, we've got a couple of people raising their hands, so that's really great. Oh my gosh! So I would say probably more people are answering. Oh gosh, we've got probably half people here doing breathing practices. So that's exciting. But these are all, if people are, most of them are from Haven, then they know about the benefits of this. So that's fantastic.
So maybe we could take a moment all together, all of us together on the webinar, and just do something that we call conspiring, which means to breathe together. So breathe. Let's take a deep breath together, and let it go. And maybe again, just for fun. And as we're just sitting and breathing, just notice what you're noticing. And taking that next breath and noticing the speed and the temperature of the breath and the movement that comes with the inhale. And the movement that comes with the exhale. The exhale is designed to relax us. And the inhale, I think of as, okay, ready for action. And the exhale, some kind of completion. Yeah. So thank you.
That's wonderful. And if anybody noticed any difference after doing that little bit of inhaling and exhaling, whatever it is, of course, you don't have to say, but if you noticed a difference, again, just give us a hand raise. All right. That's exciting to see. I noticed right away. I noticed when I took a deep breath in, my shoulders went up, and I already thought, oh, I don't want to do that. And so I took a deeper breath, and I could feel my shoulders soften right off the bat. So
good. Very good.
So on the next slide, you may see, I don't know if it's going to be moving for you, but a whole bunch of little sheep, and they're making this sound called ba, that we affectionately call the tool that we're going to introduce to you, the 5 A's, but of course it starts with breath, so that's why we have B at the beginning. And I thought the sheep were kind of funny, although I don't profess to want to be a sheep. But I did do a little research and found out that believe it or not, sheep are really connected with their sensations. So they have excellent senses apparently. So I thought, okay, I don't mind this so much. So buying isn't so bad after all. So what this tool is it is sort of a what we call a resource, or something that you would take away, that's been a tremendous help for me in my life to keep myself moving. And it's something that we teach in Come Alive, and something that we'll go into a lot more in depth on Saturday about. And it's also very much linked to our communication model that we deliver also in the Come Alive program. So to me, it's a really beneficial and really quick and easy way to kind of stay on top of myself and learn more about myself, either by myself or in relationship with somebody else. So anything you want to say before we go into it, Elfie?
Well, I love that it's a simple tool, actually, because it is kind of silly, like the sheep, but it is a good thing to remember. And I have to say that I remember a long time ago when I first found out about this model, which invites us to breathe and notice more, becoming more aware, and to maybe acknowledge that, yeah, this is what's going on. and then maybe surrender into accepting, oh yeah, this is reality. This is what's going on for me right now. And then I could maybe choose, do I want to do something about this? What kind of action do I want to engage in to either shift or even deepen the awareness that I'm having? Maybe the action would be to share with my partner what's going on, or with somebody. And the other A, which I think is very important, is the last A for appreciation, which is to really deeply appreciate my humanness, and that okay, we can fail over and over again and do so gloriously, and then take the next breath and begin this the cycle again. Or I just want to say this helped me to quit smoking a long time ago, this particular model, where I finally accepted that I was a smoker. I remember that moment. I don't know why it took me so long. And then I had made a plan of action, which was to take a breath every day before I light up. And so what I became aware of why was I smoking? And I noticed that, I was afraid to be alone. I was afraid to my feelings. I wanted to connect with people, and smoking happened to be a way for me to do that. And so it was very useful to become very, very minutely aware of what I was doing, and then to slowly take a different action. And it was very, very easy in the end to just let go of the habit. And by noticing more and more what it served, the purpose it served in my life, and then replace it with something more healthy. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I know that many people have similar insights and stories. What was it like for you?
Well, I think that's a great example of something very powerful, from a place of being addicted to something and using it to help yourself unwind from that. And I use this in my relationship, so it's also a relational tool. And if I'm feeling distant, and actually this was true for me this week, where I was so into my busy making and doing, I wasn't connecting well, and I wasn't spending any time connecting. And so I, through this exercise, actually just started taking a few deep breaths and realized that that's where I was, and started to think, oh, I've really missed out on some connection this week. So I invited myself into that awareness, and then I went and I acknowledged it and said, hey, I've been distant, and I've been into my busy making, and I know I missed some time that we were going to have together. So I acknowledged it. And then I said, I'm going to commit to make sure that we have our time next week and our particular day together. That's my action. And then I appreciated myself because I skipped the acceptance piece, which is interesting. I often do. But the acceptance piece is sort of laughing at myself, thinking, oh, here I am doing my pattern of being busy again. And and appreciating myself for not staying in it as long, and not acknowledging it for as long. So so simple as that. That took less than a couple of minutes for me to actually go through and make connection with my partner about. So very powerful tool. Yeah. And does anybody agree that knows the BA tool? Any hands that raise as a yes? I think it's a good tool. Let's just see if anybody else thinks the same thing. And we got a couple of people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's great. Good stuff.
Well,
and very much just skimmed the surface and gave you a couple of examples. And on Saturday, we'll really dig into it a little bit more. So please do join us.
Yeah, I look forward to when we explore all this in more depth. And of course, in the toolkit itself on Saturday is what I consider a taster and an introduction to some of the things we explore more in depth in the Come Alives and in the core programs at the Haven, and really thoroughly explore our own patterns and practice the breath and the 5 A's over and over again. Then they become become literate with it, and it becomes more and more habitual in a good way. Yeah.
So we just wanted to show you on the screen the actual linear look at it, just the breathe and the 5 A's that go with it, and even though it's linear, it is a circular cycle that we go through. So we'll show you more of that, but you can think about it whatever way you like, if it works for you in steps or as a cycle, because we believe that life is movement, and this is one of those tools that certainly is about movement. So
might as well do a little wiggle, everybody.
Might as well do a little wiggle. A little bit.
And take that next breath consciously and fully, and maybe maybe you guys have some questions that you might want to type in for right now, or if there is anything in your mind or an experience you want to share, then we can have a few minutes, right, Jennifer, to answer a few questions. There is one question that came in earlier, and that is what this person says, I wake up at night anxious, and even though she knows this model and she knows about breathing, she often forgets, and she wonders how she could remember to breathe when she gets anxious. I think that's a very good question. And I've been thinking about it. You know, one of the things I think when I try to think of this as not a practice, as a practice that is ongoing. So yes, I will forget, and then at some point I will remember. So what I do sometimes is I put a word breathe in significant places in my house. So I have the word breathe on my bathroom mirror, or on a tiny little breathe on my rear view mirror. And so I do, or program myself, every time I see the color red, I take a deep breath. And so there's little tools that have been very helpful to me. And of course, at night alone for this person, it is very challenging to remember to take a breath. And we were exploring some of these things, and she's going to try them out and see how it works.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's great. I just had a question come in. Can you repeat what the 5 A's are? So I pulled back the other screen, and I think you can see them now. They are breathe, awareness, acknowledgement, acceptance, action, and appreciation. Those are the 5 A's that we're talking about. 5 A's to aliveness. So are there any other questions? Anybody like to?
Keep on breathing while we're waiting.
I think it is one of those things that takes a while to integrate, to become more conscious. And, you know, first is awareness of how I'm not breathing or breathing, and then going through these steps to actually breathe more. So
yeah, for me, it's when I get irritable, I know that I've gone over a line, you know, when things, and then I take a breath and look inside and say, okay, there, I'm irritable right now. What does that feel like? And what if I take the next breath? And I might discover that, something a few hours ago that I didn't attend to. And so becoming aware of what that might be,
Mhm.
and then taking an action to follow up with that. Yeah.
That's
Is
great.
there other questions, Jennifer?
There's one other question that just came in, and not directly related to breathing or 5As, but great question. Any toolkit session outside of Vancouver, like in Whitehorse with a little smiley face. So thank you.
Well,
Like
it's the way it works. The way it works is if somebody is really keen to have us in their community, we're really keen to go. So it usually takes somebody that is willing to find a space and connect with our registrar at the Haven and find out how that could be set up. And there's many of us on the faculty that are quite willing to go to communities and offer different kinds of toolkit. I was in Tofino a while ago, and that was really a lot of fun. And Toby and Kathy were in Victoria, so we do go to different places. And yes, could work on that.
Yeah, just be in touch.
Yeah.
Get in contact with us at the Haven through the registrar.
Yeah.
And you can pursue it if it works for fit and there's a fit for everybody. So
yeah,
thanks for asking. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious in terms of the Saturday toolkit coming up in Vancouver, and knowing that we do have some people from outside of Vancouver, but those who are in Vancouver, who's coming? You want to flag us and give us a hands up just so we get a sense of being able to know if you're going to be there on Saturday with us. Anybody coming on Saturday? Okay, great. We've got a couple of people coming that are here on the call.
Oh,
and if you're not coming and you'd like to come, even more popping in now. We've got more coming in. That's great. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
So
I think we're a good day.
It's going to be a fun day, a full day of experiential, relational. We're going to do all kinds of neat things that will just give you a taste for what we actually do at the Haven and what we do in the core program called Come Alive. So we do invite you to come, and I believe now that there should be a link in the chat box. There may not have been at the beginning, but one of my dear friends here online sent me a little note and said it wasn't. So I'm hoping that it's there now. And if not, then you can go to our website and look under toolkits, and you can register through there, or of course give someone a call in the morning and register.
And please wear very comfortable clothing that you can move in, because you're going to be breathing and moving, and maybe layers, so to navigate the different temperatures that are going to come up in your body and in the room. And also bring some water bottle, and maybe a journal to write in. That would be great, I think. Anything else?
Okay.
Right? A mat to lay on?
Somebody just said, should I bring a yoga mat? And I said, yes. And we say yes. If you have one, please do bring one. That would be fantastic, so that we can do some different styles of breathing, standing, lying down. We do have a few spares at the venue, but if you could bring your own, then that's most comfortable.
And there's still room in the workshop, so if you want to bring a friend or two, the more the merrier.
The more the merrier. That's right, and it's a great venue. So really open space, but still wear layers, because different temperatures for different folks. But all the details you'll be able to see in terms of how to get there. And so any last minutes, we're going to start winding down here. And if there were any last minute questions or comments that you'd like to throw in, then we'll answer and address them. Otherwise, we'll start to wrap up this taster for Saturday. So, well, I think everybody's there. So we'll just move along here. This is just the last time you'll see this promo, because after we arrive on Saturday, it won't be relevant anymore. So that's just giving you yet another beautiful image of the front of the Haven as well. And please do join us on Saturday if you can for breathing in the 5 A's of aliveness. And then finally, just one final image for you to all see of our beautiful property at the Haven and the upcoming Come Alive programs. There's actually one happening right now, but the next one starts on April 29th, and then there's another one in May 20th, and basically we have one a month from there on until end of November, I believe. And well, we just got a question here. When is the latest someone could join for Saturday? Well, you can arrive at the door on Saturday if you like.
9:30 or at 10 to 10.
Yes, we have plans to start right at 10, but you know, if you have to come in late, that's fine. We can let you in, but you can sign up at the door basically. So please do if you're questioning that.
Yeah.
So, yes. So we.
I just want to thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Jennifer, for doing this adventure together with me. Going through all the practicing of breathing, becoming aware of our nervousness, and acknowledging it over and over again, and accepting it, taking action, practice some more, and have a huge appreciation for you and myself also, and for everybody that joined us tonight. That was lovely.
Yes, that's
Thank you.
Beautifully said, Alfie. And yes, it's been welcome to webinar land for us this week. So thank you very much for coming to this webinar, everybody who joined us. And we hope that you'll join us on Saturday, or we hope to see you at the Haven sometime.
Yeah.
So it's haven.ca/come alive if you want Come Alive, or just the website. Check us out, and we will see you soon.
Take a deep breath.
Take good care. Take a deep breath. Bye for now.